One day, Red Cap's mother said to her, "Come, Red Cap, here is a nice piece of meat and a bottle of wine. Take these to your grandmother, she is weak and ailing, and they will do her good. Be there before she gets up, go quietly and carefully." The grandmother lived far away in the wood, a long way from the village, and as Little Red Cap came among these trees she met a wolf. But she did not know what a wicked animal it was, and so she was not at all frightened. "Good morning, Little Red Cap," he said. "Thank you, Mr. Wolf," said she. "Where are you going so early, Little Red Cap?" "To my grandmother's," she answered. "And what are you carrying in that basket?" "Some wine and meat," she replied. "We baked the meat yesterday, so that grandmother, who is very weak, might have a nice strengthening meal." "And where does your grandmother live?" asked the wolf. "Oh, quite 20 minutes' walk, further in the forest. The cottage stands under these great oak trees, and close by are some fruit nut bushes, by which you will at once know it." The wolf was thinking to himself, "She is a nice, tender thing, and will taste better than the old woman. I must act cleverly, that I may make a meal of both." Presently she came up again to Little Red Cap, and said, "Just look at the beautiful flowers which grow around you. Why do you not look about you? I believe you don't hear how sweetly the birds are singing. You walk as if you were going to school. See how cheerful everything is about you in the forest." And Little Red Cap opened her eyes, and when she saw how the sunbeams glanced and danced through the trees, and what bright flowers were blooming in her path, she thought, "If I take my grandmother a fresh nosegay, she will be very much pleased. And it is so very early that I can, even then, get there in good time." And running into the forest, she looked about for flowers. But when she had once begun, she did not know how to leave off, and kept going deeper and deeper amongst the trees, looking for some still more beautiful flower. The wolf, however, ran straight to the house of the old grandmother, and knocked at the door. "Who's there?" asked the old lady. "Only Little Red Cap, bringing you some meat and wine. Please open the door," answered the wolf. "Lift up the latch," cried the grandmother. "I am much too ill to get up myself." So the wolf lifted the latch, and the door flew open, and without a word he jumped onto the bed and gobbled up the poor old lady. Then he put on her clothes, and tied her nightcap over his head, got into bed, and drew the blankets over him. All this time Red Cap was gathering flowers, and when she had picked as many as she could carry, she thought of her grandmother, and hurried to the cottage. She wondered greatly to find the door open, and when she got into the room, she began to feel very ill, and exclaimed, "How sad I feel! I wish I had not come today." Then she said, "Good morning," but received no reply. So she went up to the bed, and drew back the curtains, and there lay her grandmother, as she imagined, with the cap half drawn over her eyes, looking very fierce. "Oh, grandmother, what great ears you have," she said. "All the better to hear you with," was the reply. "And what great eyes you have." "All the better to see you with." "And what great hands you have." "All the better to touch you with." "But, grandmother, what very great teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with." And hardly were the words spoken when the wolf made a jump out of bed, and swallowed up poor Little Red Cap also.